So the 9 breaths of purification, as Anna knows, Nathaniel, did we do that last week? We did, yeah. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, Simone. No? Okay. So it's actually utilized in both Buddhist and Taoist practices. And where they kind of come together is through like Bon Buddhism or Dzogchen, because there's shamanic practices in there. Yeah. And I'll just describe what it is that we're about to do, and then we'll do some standing movements. I think we're going to do some black dragon today, and teacup, because they're so powerful and magical. So it's fun to play with that. So the 9 breaths of purification is a breath practice in which we clear the subtle body from on the right side of the body, and this is also similar to yoga as well, from any form of aversion. Okay. There's so many forms: anger, frustration, irritation, those, in yoga it would be the chitta vritti, the fluctuations of the mind, right? And we clear it through our bodies, subtle body, gross body. And then we clear 3 breaths on the left side from any form of attachment, right? So ignorant grasping. And again, there's many, many forms, and it's not just the kind of grasping for what we don't have, but the grasping for what we do have, our sense of ego, our identity, right? The 8 worldly dharmas even, right? If it's always good to come back to that. Fame and disrepute, right? Sickness and health, right? That we all experience. And which inevitably, without wisdom, lead us to suffering. And then we clear the central channel from avidya, which is ignorance, in which we've forgotten that we are all connected, deeply interconnected, and that everything is impermanent. And it's that kind of forgetting or delusion that leads to the rise of suffering and manifests in the form of, I'm recording. Okay. It manifests in the form of aversions and attachments, and then feeds back into it, right? It's that cycle. So we're going to clear that. And then I've added one breath at the end, in which, for me, I draw in the wisdom and compassion of all of the Buddhas. Or you can think of your teacher, or you can just draw in the Shen, right? The energy of the heavens, right? Whatever works for you. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll do some movement. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, Anna's kind of got a good idea. Sometimes in order to get in touch with the subtle bodies and those channels, right, it helps to move the gross body a bit. Yeah, because some of us we're so up in here. And it's so interesting now that I've entered academia or formal academia. I'm just like, wow, you guys are all in your heads. I got chastised for leading meditation in a class. I'll tell you about it later. All right, so let's try this. So I'm sitting in a meditation cushion. Anna's 2, and then Simone, what are you sitting on? On a chair?
I'm on a chair, and usually I go over on the floor. I lean against the chair. I have back issues, so I kind of, I don't do the formal position, but I can move it. I'll try to move myself.
No, you're fine. I think Daniel's in a chair too. It doesn't matter. This can be done anywhere. Totally does not matter. So this is what we're going to do. Is just bring your hands to your knees. So you know how we have like a corpus callosum, right? That joins the right and left side of our brain and the hemispheres, right? The spine is kind of like the corpus callosum of the body. Yeah. So take your hands on your knees, inhale and round. And if you're seated in a chair, I recommend that you have your feet hip width apart and underneath your knees. Okay. And then exhale, pull your chest through. See if you can find the underneath, like the underside of your sternum. And then again, follow it as you inhale. Round your spine. And then exhale, pull your chest through. And let's do one more. That's it. Inhale. Right. And I'm really using my arms as like a fulcrum here. And then exhale. And then come to center. We'll do a little spinal twist. Actually, before the spinal twist, take your left hand down either to the floor or to the chair. Okay. And then reach your right arm up and roll that left shoulder open. And then inhale, make a fist. Exhale, release. Inhale, make a fist. Yep, that's it. And notice when you make a fist, like for me, I feel that movement all the way down into my hip. And then exhale, release. And you might feel that release into your hip. All right, let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale. And then take that right hand down, bring the left arm up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here, Anna, is I'm going to press into the ground and twist to the side, right? And you guys can do that too, holding onto the chair. Rolling that right shoulder open, and then inhale, make a fist. Exhale, release. What I told my high school students today, I said, whatever you're holding on to, just inhale and exhale, release it into the earth. And then again, inhale and exhale. Great. And then bring your hands down behind you. Clasp your hands together behind your back. Try to notice which thumb is on top. And then draw the hands down and just begin to open the chest a little bit. Again, finding the underside of your sternum. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Maybe even finding your shoulder blades. And then inhale, release the hands and clasp them together with the other thumb on top, which might feel very strange. Yeah, and then a couple of breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Inhaling and exhale. One more. Inhale, exhale, and release. Draw the arms around, right? Begin to gather. Come through center. Just pause there for a moment. So you see how I'm kind of conveniently in the light and the shadow here? So I can very clearly feel the difference between light and shadow. And that's a really useful thing to have around you. So I recommend if you're walking out on the street or in the yard or the garden or wherever you are, like play with that subtle shift. Okay. I remember years ago, I was came out of the subway and I was helping. There was a blind man, and I was like, I gotta help this guy, right? Right, my ego. So I'm helping him, and we're crossing the street, and he pauses for a second, and I was like, "Is everything okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was just feeling the sun." I was like, "Thank you for reminding me." Yeah. Okay. So from here, let's do one little spinal twist. So hands on your knees, like we had before. Pausing even to feel the heat of your body. Right? Remember, with these practices, what we're doing is kind of mapping our bodies and mapping space with our bodies and our hands. So feel the energy of your own body beneath your palms. And feel your kneecaps. And then from here, we'll just gently take the left hand to the right knee, take the right hand behind you to whatever degree possible. If you're in a chair, maybe it's the side of the chair or the back. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale and twist. And if you're seated, try to keep both knees directly over your knees. Don't let them go into the midline. Inhale. Exhale. Also, maybe drop your awareness into your organs and notice how you're condensing them. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, unfurl yourself, right? Again, noticing the organs now opening up. Come to the other side, do a little counter twist, pressing the back of the right hand against the left knee. And then come back to center. And before we do the other side, just drop your awareness into your spine. And notice what you notice. Maybe more open. Maybe there's more movement in one part of the spine than the other. If you're like me, you might see density and color. Okay, and if you don't notice anything, remember that that too is a noticing. And then we're just, if you're cross-legged as I am, just crisscross applesauce the other way. And we'll do the other side now. So take the right hand to the left knee. Left hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen up. Fund your liver if you can. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and twist. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. And then again, unfurling yourself, coming back through center, right? Noticing how the organs open. And then counter twist to the other side. And come back to center. Noticing what you notice. Perhaps more evenness or balance. Energy flowing upward, right? Because that's what we're playing with, is connecting to the energy that's flowing upward always and actually enabling that. Because it can get stuck, right? This body is what we experience life with. It's because of this thing that we're experiencing life, right? We're still embodied humans. And so what we experience is in the body. So we help it move through so that we can clear channels. Does that make sense? It's also a way for us to get out of the monkey mind, right? When I'm being present with my hands, with my body, with my senses, I'm not thinking about all of the things I have to do, you know? This is the resource. And it's wisdom. So arrange your mountain. Collarbones are broad, the sternum is lifted. Perhaps the right and left eardrum are equidistant from the right and left shoulder. Right? I always have a tendency to cock my head. It's funny, I see pictures of me sitting and I'm like, why am I doing that? Right? So try to even both sides. And then draw the pelvic floor up, right? This is the earthly doors, Mula Bandha in yoga land. Okay. It's a subtle energy and it's really important. And it's really important as women. Okay. But draw it up. and then release it. And just notice the difference in that energetic quality. It's basically the difference between engagement and not. Yeah. And then here's another thing too. And some of us may have scoliosis, to some degree or not. But notice if your rib cage is twisting. Right? Some of us may have a slight twist going that way or the other way. So draw it back to center. And then find where your trachea branches down off into your right and left lung. Okay, and there's a little arch there. So line that up with the pelvic floor, trachea arch, move upward even more now, and then find the roof of the mouth. And then the crown of the skull. Right, you can think of this as the cathedral of your body. And light can pour down through the stained glass, opening the crown chakra and all the way down to the lower dantian. This is one of the ways that we access the central channel, otherwise known as the spiritual needle. And in neuroscience, the vagus nerve. Right? And then we'll do the breathwork practice. You can take the middle finger of your right hand, and we'll add a little bit of a Vajra mudra here. So take the pointer finger of that same hand and just press it into the middle digit like that. Yeah. Kind of interesting, right? And then from here, gently close the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Right, lifting the sternum as you do, and then drop the chin into the sternum and allow any recent moment or not so recent moment of aversion to arise in which you experienced anger, frustration, irritation. And then you can lift the chin, close left, exhale right, envisioning like a spring green light. Okay, and we'll do that 2 more times. Close right, inhale left. Drop the chin into the sternum. Notice. And perhaps with some sense of humor towards your own folly. Lift the chin. Close left, exhale right. Okay, and if you need to release the breath before I give the prompt, please do, okay? Or if you need to hold it longer, right? Honor your lung capacity. We'll do 1 more. So close right, inhale left. Drop the chin into the sternum. Okay, you might remind yourself that that anger is attachment not getting what it wants, as per Venerable Robina. And then close left, exhale right. If you can, hold empty. If not, take a breath. Okay, now we'll clear the left side. My cat's staring at me. Close left, inhale right. Drop the chin into the sternum. And now notice any form of attachment. And perhaps even notice where it is in your body. When you're ready, lift the chin, close right, exhale left. And again, close left, inhale right. Drop the chin into the sternum. Notice. Lift the chin. Close right, exhale left. One more. Close left, inhale right. Lift the chin, close right, exhale left. Okay, now we're going to inhale through both nostrils. Draw the breath over the back of the skull, down the spine, retain it at the belly button. Okay, 3 breaths and then one more at the end. When we release this breath through the central channel, you can envision or connect to an electric blue light. Okay. Also, I encourage you to notice the quality of your mind that arises as we do these practices. Deep inhale. Drop the chin into the sternum. Engage the pelvic floor. Release the pelvic floor, lift the chin, exhale out through the crown of the skull. And again, deep inhale. Drop the chin into the sternum. Release the pelvic floor, exhale out through the crown of the skull. One more, deep inhale. Drop the chin into the sternum, engage the pelvic floor. When we release this breath, we'll immediately inhale back down into our bodies. A golden light in the form of all of the Buddhas flooding into you. Lift the chin, exhale, release. Inhale back down. Drop the chin into the sternum. Allow the wisdom and compassion of all of the Buddhas to infuse every cell of your body. Perhaps until every cell of your body becomes a Buddha. And then when you're ready, you can lift your chin and exhale, release through every cell of your body. And if your eyes were closed, you open them, I encourage you to look around you through the eyes of a Buddha. You might experience the kind of what I experience, which is that you see the different way that different materials kind of vibrate, almost like you're looking at the molecular structure of them. You know, you start to see, and without labeling, just see. You know, because that's part of what creates a lot of our suffering, is that we're projecting and labeling, you know. We create a narrative that isn't true. I realized not this past weekend, the weekend before, I had a lot of stuff coming up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm Mark Twaining myself. I should probably write about that. So we're going to get up in a second, but Mark Twain once said, I know it's not perfectly quoted, but something along the lines of, I've experienced some awful things in my life, most of which have never happened. And I was, for an entire weekend, I was Mark Twaining myself. And that's, you know, because we're just projecting story instead of seeing, right? So I'm so also in this practice, which is a daily practice, the purification practice. It's like it's part of the component, I think, of like being your own therapist. You know, you're like, oh, right. You know, like even today when we were doing that practice just now, I saw so clearly how the aversion I was experiencing was deeply connected to the attachment. You know, so clearly. And then one of the things that I was telling my teenage students, I was like, you know, whatever you practice is what you become. If you practice being an asshole, you're going to be a really good asshole. All right, so we're going to. Does anybody have any questions about that practice? There's subtlety, you know, and you may, in drawing that last breath in, the 10th breath, oftentimes for me, I see a spark of light. And I asked a friend of mine who was a pranayama master, truly a master. And I was like, what the hell was that? And he's like, yeah, you were probably just accessing the fourth eye. And I was like, all right. So different phenomena occur. The point is to not be attached to them, right? Makes sense? Just to notice. But so if you did see like this light that goes like that could be it. There's a lot of commonality in these practices. I remember speaking with a neuroscientist who's also a meditation teacher, and I was like, you know that blue light? And he's like, oh yeah, I know the blue light. It starts sounding all very matrixy. Let's come and stand. Now my cat's very happy, but I'll let her in. Come on, Sochi. Sochi. Oh, I'm also going to be speaking to try and coordinate like an in-person workshop at TNL. So I'll let you guys know about that. Would be ideally we would be doing this in person for like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. So, whoop, my head is cut off. Sometimes that's probably what should happen. There we go. Let's just do a quick little like get into your body shake, because I want to go over some forms. So just like shake your wrists out and your ankles. You can run your hands through your hair. In this practice, Simone, we're just kind of discharging any energy, again, that is stuck. Also mapping. Tapping practices are pretty common all over the world, actually. So what I'm doing is I'm cupping my palm and I'm tapping on my chest. You can notice even like the difference between the right and left lung. If you have any congestion, it'll feel like that. Back to the legs, front of the legs. That's it, okay, I know. All right, top of the arm, inside of the arm. And then you can take your fingertips and gently tap on your skull. It's funny because usually we do this part first. It's interesting to notice. Kind of the reaction in my body. Tap on the skull, yeah, and then the sides of the skull. I encourage you also to just find the crown of your skull. Okay, it's delicate and it's tender. Okay, the crown chakra. Do you notice the difference between not crown of the skull, right? And if you're not so sure if you found it, you can take the heel of your hand, bring it to the bridge of your nose, lay your middle finger down, and then that should be it right there. So we activate this, right? This is kind of like when we, in our spiritual practice, rising up through the crown of the skull, going into the different kayas. Also, I would recommend checking out how dragonflies are born. They're literally born up through the crown of their skulls. And, some of us can't do headstands, and so you can activate, by just touching your own crown of the skull. And then maybe take the 2 fingers, forefinger, middle finger, sides of the nose to clear the sinuses. I feel like now that we're coming out of hopefully COVID season and flu and cold season, now there's allergies. And you can take your thumb, rub it up into the eye socket, and release the muscles of the eyes. And even take the heels of the hands, press them into the eyes, allow the head to come forward. And then roll the eyes clockwise and then counterclockwise 9 times. And you may notice fluid beginning to drain down, yeah? So we're going to start to just kind of move that down. Come to the sides of the neck. All right, this helps to drain lymph. And then you can even draw the earlobes down and notice how that opens the eustachian tubes. If any of you have ever gotten ear seeds in the ears, it's really a useful form of acupressure. Okay, and then just kind of take 1 minute and go solo freestyle. Right, listening to your body, whatever it wants to do, shake, wriggle, roll. Yeah, and then like start to slow it down. And then we'll go through like 10 more seconds. Yeah. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just pause. And bring your awareness to your feet. And then turn the palms over, draw the hands around. Step the right foot back to the left. The fingertips are going to face each other, palms face the earth. And here we're kind of smoothing down the meridians of the subtle body. Come into the Taiji Mudra. Yeah. So my hands are at the thumb webbing is kind of interlocked there and right below the belly button. Come into your standing mountain. And then we're going to move into the Shaolin practice that we did last week. Yeah. So you can inhale and then exhale, release the palms. Step out to a little bit wider than hip width apart. And I'm going to show you what this looks like from the side first. So there's a slight bend in my knees. And I'm going to just bring my arms up, and my left hand is going to come over my right. Not touching, maybe like 2 or 3, 4 inches above. And then coming out. Okay. And then I'm just going to go right over left. And then coming out. It's almost like when you're standing in a body of water, right? And you're just kind of feeling the water. So you can mirror me, or I'll just guide us through our breath. So inhale, come to center. Left hand over right. And then exhale, pull the hands apart. That's it, Simo. So what I want you to do is really connect to the energy that you are moving through and also dispersing around you. So right over left and apart. Feet firmly planted into the earth. And then inhale, left over right. Exhale, pulling apart. And again, inhale, right over left. Exhale, pulling apart. Okay, now pause here and try to draw the arms out. See how that lifts the chest up? Yep, that's it. And I can see that, but and I roll that left shoulder back a little bit. Yep. And then, yeah, there we go. Okay, and then inhale, draw the arms forward. The palms are up now. Coming forward. That's it, Simone, right? Inhaling, lifting, and exhale. Hands come here, right? Like you're standing like in a pool with your arms on the edge, yeah? Pause, and then inhale. Exhale, push down. We're going to do that a few times. Inhale, drawing the arms out. Coming back to center. Exhale, left over right. You start to feel that energy, right? The hands. Yeah, you're mirroring me, Nathaniel. That's cool. That's fine. And then inhale, out. Turn the palms up. Exhale, gather. Inhale, float. Exhale, push down. Inhale out to the side. Exhale back to center. Left over right. Right? So pause and like close your eyes if you can, if you feel comfortable. Feel the heat and the energy of your left hand passing through and over your right. And then coming out to the side, slowly, slowly. And then inhale. Exhale, turning the palms up. Inhale. Turn the arms up. And exhale. You can push down with a lot of energy or not. Notice the difference, right? Try really pushing down. You may even notice that when you're doing that, you can feel the difference in the density of chi all around you, right? It's because it's not the same between one hand and the other. It's fluid. Let's do that a couple more times. Ready? Okay, earthly doors closed, heavenly gates open, crown of the skulls open. Inhale. Coming out. Okay, and you can make this like really opening across the chest, or not so much, right? Listen to your body. Exhale, come back to center. This time, right hand passing over and through left. And then coming out again. Inhale. Turning the palms up. Exhale. Inhale. And notice when you do that, right? The chest lifts. It's almost like we start to lift, right? And then exhale, push down. And you may notice as well that as you do that, the energy just kind of moves down and around you, right? So a couple more times here, drawing out. Inhale. Exhale. I think right over left. Inhale, coming out. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Now left over right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So I want to do just one more, but I want to bring us back to that moment in the beginning of practice in which we drew in the breaths of all of the Buddhas and every cell of our body became a Buddha. I want you to consider that every cell of your body is practicing. Inhale. Exhale. Step into the infinite. Inhale. Exhale. And at the heart of every Buddha cell is wisdom and compassion. Inhale. Exhale, spread it out. And pause. Okay, we're going to do Black Dragon. Black Dragon parts the clouds. Similar kind of, it's interesting how they move into each other. So you can step out into your horse stance. Now your horse stance can be super, super wide and deep. I do a lot of wall sits, so I can stay like this for quite a while, but I forget that some people can't, okay? So it's a good lesson for me. Either be here or be here, a little bit more shallow, right? Whatever works for you, especially if you're working with any injuries, okay? So we're gonna start here. Earthly doors closed, heavenly gates open. Inhale. Turn the hands, right? The fingertips are going to pass through the belt meridian. So like notice that you can feel as your fingertips pass through you. Right? And it's not just that, remember in the beginning when we made a fist and then released it and we could feel it in our hips, right? But even that subtle movement, this is energy passing through energy. So come forward. That's it. And my hands, Simone, maybe a little bit lower. Maybe it's yeah, there you go, at the hip height. Yeah. Okay, so watch me first, and then we're going to do it together. I'm going to inhale, turn to the right. My hips stay forward, and then I turn my palms down, kind of reading all of the energy around me. And exhale, I lift the left arm up, and then inhale, I come back to center. The right arm is down, left arm is up. Okay, we'll come back to this practice for sure next week because it's a little complicated, but we're going to be here. And then I make a dragon beak and then, all right. So we're going to do it all together. And I can feel all of that energy that I'm cultivating. So inhale, come forward, right? Think of it as an offering. Also, today is Losar, so Happy New Year, Tashi Dalek. Offer to the Buddhas, to your teachers. So let's go inhale to the left, palms are up. Exhale, come back through center. Yep, you got it, Simone. And then I turn to the right. I lift my right arm up. Like you can think of it as like lifting up to close a curtain and you're closing the curtain, coming back to center. That's it, you got it. Nice, Nathaniel. Okay, and feel the energy of the earth rising up to meet your hand, your right hand, your left hand. And then bring yourself back. Remember the corpus callosum? Connect to that energy now in the brain and the spine. Okay, and then from here, inhale. Dragon beak, so the fingertips all come together. Make your chi ball. Exhale. Very nice. Beautiful, Anna. Okay, a few more times. Ready? Inhale. Offer. I keep picturing Venerable Rabina in front of me. Exhale. Go to the right. And then inhale through center. Up to the left. Exhale. Beautiful. That's it, Simone. Good. All right, and again, you can make this super dynamic, like pressing that left hand against the center line, right? My left hand is right at my sternum. Yeah, so, and lower your, oh, there it is. Yeah, you notice that, Simone? Totally different feeling. Very different, right? Because this is also the heart dantian. There's all that energy from the heart pouring outward. And then the right hand is energy of the earth. Dragon beak, inhale. Chi ball, exhale. Good, and again. Inhale. Offer. Exhale to the left. Black dragon parts the clouds. Inhale. Okay, so now really exhale. See yourself as the black dragon or any divine being. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Offer. Beautiful. Exhale. Right, feel all of the mist and the clouds. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. Okay, and if you really want to kind of feel that energy a bit more, like press down. Yeah, feel your chi ball. Sounds like such a weird thing to say, but like you can do this, right? You feel that? Start to just play with it. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll come and sit again, okay? So take your chi ball, and I seriously want you to consider your teacher in front of you. And you can think of all of your accumulated merit in your hands. And then inhale, offer. Exhale. Inhale to the left, back through center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, and then you can take your chi ball and just kind of hold it there for a moment. And then inhale. I'm going to ask you to consider truly nourishing yourself, feeding your karma by witnessing and acknowledging all of your kindness, and draw it into you. Every moment of not being an asshole. And then step the right foot back to the left. Draw the arms around, okay? Closing the practice again, smoothing down, and like really notice, take your time, draw the hands down. For me, it's almost like playing a harp. And then hands come into the Taiji Mudra. Okay, and you can release the palms, turn the palms up, feel the energy of the sun, the moon, and the stars. The energy of the earth, and the energy of the human. The silly humans we are. Okay, we'll come and sit for a moment. Anna had to go. I hope she's okay. Let me see. Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions? It's quite a beautiful, beautiful practice. Yeah.
My question is, with the breathing, should we try to do it through the stomach, breathing as much as possible, the in-breaths and such, or don't worry about that?
Yeah, if it gets in the way, like if it pulls you out of the practice, don't worry about it. Right? Because then you're thinking about that and you're not, in the practice. I have found that because, you could switch it up, like you could inhale, like we've been inhaling and then exhaling, but you could exhale, inhale. It's different quality of energy. I like going down on the exhale also because I feel like it makes me feel more grounded, and which when you think about it makes sense because the exhalation is what engages the parasympathetic nervous system, so it's a quieting, and then just play with it. Don't worry about it too much. No. The important thing when we're doing the 9 breaths of purification in the beginning, one of the important components of that practice is when we're dropping the chin into the sternum, right? That's known as Jalandhara Bandha in yoga land, or the throat lock. But essentially what it is we're helping tone our vagus nerve. which, people have been doing for thousands of years because it works. And for some of us that have experienced a lot of trauma or even stress and distress, the vagus nerve starts getting a little funky. And the vagus nerve is it's the biggest nerve in the body, and it extends up into the facial muscles, into the base of the brain, and goes down into every major organ. So, and it receives information from every major organ as well. So the information is both afferent, moving up, and inferent. It's a feedback loop. And for those of us that have experienced a lot of trauma, that feedback loop gets a little hijacked. Right. So what we're doing is toning the vagus nerve. Does that make sense? Neuroscience is like, look what we figured out. And meanwhile, people have been naturally healing themselves for thousands of years. But so that's the trick. In yoga, like one of the biggest postures that does that is shoulder stand. Because you're lifting the legs above the heart. It's known as the queen of the poses. Headstand is the king of the poses. But not everybody can do a headstand. Everybody can do Qigong.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's also a different form of magic. It's a very different form. But I'm really glad that you joined us, Simone. I hope it was useful.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, just what I needed. So yeah.
I'm glad.
Energetic shift, and I knew I needed an energetic shift a lot. So through the body is definitely the way to go. Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, I did too. Whenever I'm practicing, I just feel so much better. So much better. But I definitely recommend, like, especially like nature is the place to practice. When you're outside, like if you run your hand above a fence even, or over a tree, and you're just noticing energy. And that's a way to really start to connect to it. And then what we're doing is like moving it and playing with it, It's fun too. It's getting back to magical thinking. It's fun. So anyway, it was a joy to share practice with you. I hope to see you next week. We will come back to Black Dragon because it's a little complicated, and there's a whole another part of it. Black Dragon also is associated with the kidneys. You may have noticed that. It's a deeply, deeply engaging and restorative. And there's actually a 5-dragon practice. So maybe we'll start getting further into that. Yeah. Did you have something to say, Nathaniel?
Yeah. Is it possible to access this recording or?
Oh yeah. They're all on YouTube.
Okay.
I have no idea who watches them, but I know people do. It's through the Thupten Norbuling YouTube site. And that should be on the website. But if you can't find it, let me know, and I'll find it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to see you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So
You're
much.
welcome.
Lovely.
Yes.
Happy New Year. Tashi Dalek.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.